You know, I've been having a real hard time deciding what I want to review next. I wanted to review Fleet Fox's album, but that album was kind of depressing me for some odd reason. It was just slow music, and I need something kind of uplifting or something rage-inducing or something of that nature. So I stopped listening to that for a while, and I came across King Gizzard. Murder of the Universe by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. That's kind of a tongue tire. This is their second album this year. That's impressive because of the quality that they're actually producing on these albums. And I don't want to get into detail about the other album that they released because I still want to talk about that one. But this one I've been anticipating because of the premise of this album. That being, it's like post-apocalyptic, dystopian, futuristic elements put into a King Gizzard album. And yeah, I was excited about that, not gonna lie. The thing is, I thought this was gonna be a full-fledged story, but really it's 3 short stories that are pretty weird, disturbing, and creepy, to be honest. The first story being about an altered beast this guy comes across, and the altered beast is wanting to eat him or something, or form an even greater being, and the guy is conflicted whether he wants to do it or not, and he essentially ends up doing it, and they lose their insanity, or go insane or whatever, and they die together. It's so weird, but it's so good. The guitar just going crazy, and the drums, just awesome stuff. Then we got the second story where it's about a lightning god who is basically wreaking havoc on this little town, and then accidentally resurrects one of the people, and they become this creature called the Balrog, I believe is what it was called, and like they go against each other. It's like a battle, and that was really cool. Just everything about this album is batshit crazy, but that's what I like about this album. And of course, the instrumentation is so psychedelic and desert rock-ish and punkish, all fused into a beautiful mix. We got ourselves Then we got the last story, which is about a cyborg that forms with a human, and he just wants to vomit and die. And he devours the universe, and that's where the title, Murder of the Universe comes from. And that's just crazy. And how descriptive it is about the vomit and everything. This album's fucking crazy. It's so weird, so different. And that's what I love about it. It's just so, it's like the imagery that this whole thing definitely produces for you is great. It's like some weird fucked up fantasy that I really dug. And they kind of remind me of Iron Maiden. That's kind of why I'm wearing the shirt today, because I was like, I don't know, some of it kind of reminded me of what I like about Iron Maiden. But to be fair, they're not really like Iron Maiden, like their styles are totally different. And how experimental King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard are, just that whole name. I'm just gonna call him King Gizzard from now on. The thing I kind of dislike about this album is the separation of tracks is kind of pointless. Like, you could just make this like 3 tracks, because basically it is 3 tracks, just really long 3 tracks. But I kind of like that they're separated too, because then it's like chapters. I think of like the songs in this as chapters, and it works that way too, but it's just kind of like pointless too. But I don't know, maybe that's just me. I do like the separation, and I don't. At the same time, I feel like it's pointless, and on the other hand, it's useful too, because if you leave off somewhere, you're like, oh, I was on that section of this song, because technically there's only 3 songs in this album. They're just long, and I do like how they continue. It's like a continuous track that kind of changes with time that it goes on for. So overall, what I think about this album is I love it. I think it's great. I can't see myself though coming back to it that often. Like, I like it enough to where I'd be like, I'm in the mood to listen to some weird dark shit that has something to do with post-apocalyptic. I'd pop this in instantly and be satisfied probably, but I can't see myself like continuously listening to this album throughout the year or anything, maybe like once or twice, because I've listened to it already a couple times. And other than that, this album's spot on good. I would give it probably a 4.5 to 4, because I don't feel like this has, I mean, it's gonna be a cult classic for sure, but I don't think it's gonna be like an album that I'm just gonna keep coming back to, like some of the albums that I have previously reviewed or whatnot. But I do enjoy the living shit out of this album, and I feel like maybe I am being a little unfair to this album because it is so good. It is so weirdly good, especially the last story about the cyborg is so batshit crazy and weird that it's almost hard not to like it. The hard thing about this album is I can't really say who to recommend this to except like King Gizzard fans and maybe some like people that are into some weird shit. Because this album's definitely weird. I was playing this around my mom too, and she was like, "What the hell is this?" And I'm like, "It's music. It's very interesting music." But if you're like a total music listener and you'll listen to anything, I recommend it. I highly recommend you listen to this or any King Gizzard album because they're pretty good. They're good. They're a good Australian band, and you should definitely give them a shot at least. Sorry if this was too short. I just felt like there's not really a lot to talk about except like the stories, and the instrumentations are flat out like total psychedelic rock, and I think you'll get the point, especially if you listen to it for yourself. I feel like you're gonna get a lot more out of it than me talking about it. So go listen to it. It's definitely worth a shot. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this review, and peace.